Hey guys, Kelly with St. Johns County Parks and Recreation here to bring you another great talk on living sustainably. In honor of Earth Day being the 22nd of April, we're going to talk about all the little things you can do around your house and in your life so you can live just a little more sustainably. But first things first, who I am, what I do. I work for St. Johns County. St. Johns County is a great county, but being on the coast of Florida, it also leaves us prone to a lot of environmental issues. So our county runs from about Ponte Vedra down to Marineland, over to Hastings, up to Fruit Cove. And no matter where we live in the county, there are plenty of things that we can all do to become a more sustainable society. So specifically within the county, I work for our Parks and Recreation Department. Our Parks and Rec Department's a really diverse organization. We run things from community centers to beach access to playgrounds. We also have trails and waterway access. There's a whole other side of the department that I don't have anything to do with, that is courts and fields. So we provide a lot of recreational opportunities for people. I spend most of my time on the water or on the trails. So I am the Parks Naturalist for St. Johns County Parks and Recreation. I personally think I have the best job in the whole county. I really love what I do. And even though I can't be with you in these difficult times to bring this talk to you in person, I'm so excited to still be able to share my passion for the environment with you and hopefully inspire you to make some simple changes in your life so we can be a more sustainable society. So on a normal, non-pandemic world, I am taking people on beach walks. I am bringing these talks to you in person. I'm running kayak trips. What I am still doing is field surveys. That's what that picture in the middle is. I was out today doing an invasive species survey. So I have a great job that keeps me outdoors, enjoying these wonderful natural areas that we have here in St. Johns County. So I want to set this up for you so you kind of know what you're getting into here. For starters, today's presentation is not at all going to be me telling you how to live. It is not going to be focused on how you failed. It's not going to make you feel hopeless or overwhelmed. And this is not an endorsement of any specific products, brands, or companies. I will mention certain products and certain companies just because I know about them and I want to share them with you. Does not mean it's an endorsement from the county's perspective. I just want to educate you on some of the things that some of these great companies are doing, and if you'd like to support them, great. This is not a political persuasion presentation at all. I'm just giving you tips. You can take or leave whichever ones you would like. What I'm hoping today's presentation is, I want it to be thought-provoking. I hope it's inspirational. I hope it's a great starting point. Everything here is not the end-all be-all. There is always more that can be done. And maybe it'll start a conversation with you and your household, or it'll start a conversation here in the community about things that we can do to be more sustainable. So what is sustainability? It's kind of this buzzword, but what does it really mean? I'll let you think about what you think the definition of sustainability is, but I also want to give you some real world examples of what other people have said sustainability is. So the dictionary definition of sustainability is the quality of not being harmful to the environment or depleting natural resources and thereby supporting long-term ecological balance. The EPA also has a definition on sustainability, which is sustainability is based on a simple principle. Everything that we need for survival and well-being depends either directly or indirectly on the natural environment. To pursue sustainability is to create and maintain the conditions under which humans and nature can exist in productive harmony to support present and future generations. That future generations is a really key component to this definition for me. And finally, your very simple but to the point Wikipedia definition is sustainability is the ability to exist constantly. So there are two big themes here. One is persisting, and two is the ability to utilize the resources for future generations. And that's the lens I'm going to view this presentation through. So I want to start you with a dose of inspiration. This is a story that I like to use in my teachings. If you've come to some of my programs before, you may have already heard it, so sit back and enjoy it. If this is the first time you're hearing it, you're in luck. I heard this story while I was in school. This is a story from a great professor that I have adapted and utilized in a lot of my teachings because it was inspirational to me. So environmental problems can seem like a big, ugly monster at the end of a teeter-totter. In this example, it is some sort of octopus monster. And that monster is just weighing down that teeter-totter. And there seems like there's nothing you can do to upset the balance, to flip the scales. One day, someone came, put a bucket on the end of the teeter-totter. And they came every day and they put 1 teaspoon of sand into the bucket. And over time, there was a line at the bucket because he recruited friends and family, and word got out, and everybody lined up just to put in 1 teaspoon of sand. Well, over time, the sand added up, added up, added up. And the tides shifted. The scales switched. And that big, ugly monster was defeated by all of us just putting in 1 teaspoon of sand. So today, as we go through this presentation, I don't want you to go home, or maybe you're already at home, and switch to solar panels on your roof, trade in your car for your bike, and don't take showers, right? Not only is that incredibly expensive, you'll probably smell bad from biking everywhere. It's Florida, it's like 100 degrees here, so we want you to shower. And it's not practical to bike everywhere, right? So the area in which you can go is a lot smaller. That's not reasonable. But there are lots of teeny tiny reasonable things you can do that will be your teaspoons of sand that you can contribute to this big bucket of sustainability. So throughout this presentation, I want you to help us kick the big ugly monster by finding your first 3 teaspoons of sand. So I will give you lots of tips and tricks, lots of small things you can do. You don't have to do all of them. Pick the things that work for you in your life and just find today your goal is going to be those first 3 teaspoons of sand. So here we go. We're going to get started. And we're going to start at the home, which most of us are spending a lot of time in. So start to evaluate your habits around the home and look at some of these ideas that I present and see which ones would be more logical for you to take on. Your kitchen is a great way to start living sustainably. And first thing is food storage. I know in the past I was very guilty of putting everything into plastic bags that were used once that were then thrown out. If you can slowly start to buy things in your kitchen or save things that you have, like glass jars, to put stuff in, you won't have to use those Ziploc bags. So beeswax wraps are great for saving produce. They're awesome for half a sweet potato, an avocado, an apple, whatever it may be. They're awesome for produce and things. You can also put them over bowls. So if you just are saving something in a bowl, similar to how you would use plastic wrap. It's a great substitute for plastic wrap. We also have containers, which are great substitutes for Ziploc bags. So you have your Tupperware containers, either glass or plastic, but if you can start to move them towards glass, even better. You can save your mason jars and things that you get in jars. So it's great to store stuff in, easy to put in the dishwasher. And then if you're going to take things to go, get little mats that are reusable, or they make the silicone bags, the silicone Ziploc bags that you can wash. Anything that's not single use is really what we're looking for here in the kitchen. Also, your food choices. So you may not realize that what you're eating can have a direct impact on sustainability. So while I love red meat and I am not in any way, shape, or form advocating people go vegetarian or even vegan, maybe just cut back, because red meat consumes a lot of resources to make and contributes a lot of methane gas into the atmosphere from cow farts. So if you can cut back, a great way to start is a meatless Monday. So dedicate at least 1 day a week that you're not eating meat. Also try to cut back on dairy. Once again, not advocating anybody can necessarily go vegan or vegetarian. Props to you if you can do that. That's something that doesn't make sense for me in my life and my diet. Now, in a non-pandemic situation, I'd tell you to go to the farmer's market and pick up some fresh local produce. There are still avenues in which to get fresh local produce. It's just a little harder than going to the farmer's market. But if you can do that, that's great. And then if you eat a lot of seafood, which living here in Florida, a lot of us do, check out Seafood Watch. It's an app you can get on your phone, or sometimes you can get the paper printouts of it. And it's a guide as to which fisheries are sustainable and which ones you can eat, where things are being harvested sustainably, and which ones you really should avoid because it's not a sustainable practice and that fishery is in jeopardy of collapsing, or the practices in which that fishery is using has high bycatch and is harming a lot of other sea life. Clean up in your kitchen also is a way you can become more sustainable. So paper napkins, which are one-time use, can be replaced with cloth napkins. I use cloth napkins in my house and I just throw them in at the end of the week with whatever towels I have. So that's been a huge help for me, saving paper towels, which are one-time use. You can utilize different cleaning scrubbers that are more natural, that are not made out of synthetic fibers. There is also reusable paper towels that are made out of bamboo that you can look into if you're still a big paper towel fan, or just convert those paper towels to dish rags. You know, swap them out regularly, but I go through about one roll of paper towel every 3 to 5 months. So you can definitely cut down your paper towel usage in your house if you're diligent about it. And believe it or not, most of our dishwashers are going to be more water and energy efficient than you running the water and doing dishes in your sink, which is great news because if you're like me, you really don't like to do dishes. So now you have more incentive to just shove everything in the dishwasher and run it. Some miscellaneous things to think about in your kitchen. One of the most important are your single-use K-cups that go into your coffee maker. So anything that's only making 1 cup of coffee that you're then throwing away can really be replaced with these reusable ones, like you can see here on the screen in purple, where you would just put your grounds in and you're still only making 1 cup of coffee, but your waste level has completely been reduced. Another great one, if you like tea a lot, if you don't want to use individual tea bags, you can get little teas that you can put loose leaf tea into. They come in all sorts of different animals, like a sloth. If you utilize a lot of produce and you want them to last longer, there are tons of different products out there. This is just one option that you can put in your produce drawer to make things last just a little bit longer so they don't go bad on you, because we don't want a lot of food waste, and unfortunately there is a lot of food waste here in the United States. And lastly, one that I have personally used, which is great around Christmas time for baking cookies, are the mats that go down on your cookie sheet. So if you are someone who utilizes a lot of parchment paper because you do a lot of baking, those mats are great and they're super easy to clean and you can use them over and over and over again. That one I definitely recommend. There's lots of different kinds out there, but I, from personal experience, know that they're a great investment if you bake a lot. Your bathroom. So your bathroom is going to be a lot about reducing your water consumption because the bathroom is one of the places where we run a lot of water. So first things first, if you have a bathroom shower that maybe takes a little bit longer for the hot water to come on, think about putting a bucket under the faucet and collecting that water and watering plants and things around the house with it. You can also change out your faucet heads so that they're low flow faucet heads, so you're actually using less water as you're showering. Now here's a hard one, at least for me, which is reducing the amount of time spent in the shower. You can start timing yourself and maybe make it a competition to get it under so many minutes. That's cool, or make it a competition in your house. Just don't cut it so short that you're leaving the shower still dirty. We still want you to be nice and clean and smell fresh. And check your toilets. So you can get low flow toilets, but also make sure that your toilets aren't leaking. So you can get these toilet leak tablets that you put in the back of the tank and you leave it for 15 minutes and you look and see if that color has gone ahead and leaked somewhere else. And then you can make repairs so you're not losing water in your toilet when it's not being used. Other choices we make in the bathroom can impact how we live sustainably. So think about all of the plastic containers that we have in the bathroom. I have over the last year been on a mission to phase out plastic in my bathroom. I'm slowly but surely getting there, one product at a time. So start simple with things like soap bars. They also make shampoo and conditioner bars. I haven't tried those yet because I realized when I started this process over the last year that I have a problem with coupons, and that underneath my sink in my bathroom, I have a whole bunch of shampoo and conditioner that I bought when I had coupons and things were on sale. I am almost on my last bottle, so I'm just about to make that transition to shampoo and conditioner bars. And with my really long hair, I hope I can find a good product quickly, but there's lots of options out there. Also, if you wear makeup, those one-time disposable makeup remover pads, while they're usually cotton and things that aren't necessarily as bad for the environment, we can reduce waste and things that are single use. That's always a win. They make these makeup remover pads that you can wash off. You put them in that little baggie when you're done, and then go ahead and throw them in the washer with things like your towels. Your teeth and your teeth hygiene. You can switch over to bamboo toothbrushes. I've gone ahead and already done that. You can utilize different toothpaste that don't come in a plastic container. They also make dental floss that comes in glass jars. The other thing is deodorant. Deodorant always has a lot of plastic packaging. In fact, there's multiple kinds of plastic in there. So try to find a deodorant that doesn't have plastic packaging, that either comes there. Some of them come in cardboard, and some of them, like this one, come in glass jars. Laundry. So our laundry contributes to what we call microfibers. So we have a lot of synthetic materials in our clothing, especially in like a lot of our workout clothes that stretch or that conform to our body. And also in that wicking material, I know I wear a lot of that living in Florida because it's hot out, but we have, every time we run things through the washer, like fleece especially, all of these teeny tiny fibers come off of that wash, and they go down the drain and they end up in the water. And they contribute to what's called microfibers, which are just fibrous pieces of basically plastic in our waters. That's a no bueno. So there are 2 products that I know of that you can use to reduce your microfiber input into the system. Neither one of them are foolproof, but they will help reduce the amount of microfibers going out into the waterways. One is the Coral Ball that you would just put in with your clothes. And the other one is the Guppy Bag. And so you can get a Guppy Bag, and basically those items, like a fleece jacket, that's a great example. You would put it in the bag to wash it. And then when you take it out of the bag, there basically would be a line of all that fibrous material that came out. The other thing to do, which sometimes is a good idea in Florida and sometimes not such a good idea, is go back to the way Grandma and Grandpa used to do it. Put up the line in the yard and let everything hang dry so you're not using the energy to run things through the dryer. Be aware that we have pop-up showers in Florida, so you need to check the radar before you go ahead and hang out all your clothes on the line so you don't have things blowing away or getting rained on. That kind of defeats the purpose of putting things out to dry. Also, if you use a lot of dryer sheets, which are single use, consider moving to the alpaca balls or alpaca wool. I have these in my dryer and I absolutely love them. You can put essential oils on them if you want to have that sense that you get from using dryer sheets. I just use mine to get wrinkles out of clothes and help things dry faster. But these alpaca dryer balls are awesome. So you guys can look into that if you want to try to move away from single-use dryer sheets. Your cleaning products in your house. There's lots of different ways that we can clean our households, still have things be sanitized, but kind of reduce the amount of plastics or chemicals we're using in our household. So first things first, if you have old, raggedy, even like t-shirts or towels, use those as your cleaning cloths so you're not constantly going through paper towel. But consider brands like Blueland. So Blueland has this really neat concept where you only ever use one bottle for cleaning. So typically when we have cleaning products, we use it, the bottle's empty, we get rid of that bottle, we get a new bottle. The model of this company is that you get that bottle and then you get a cleaning tablet that you then put in the bottle and mix with water. So every time you need a refill, you just get the tablet instead of getting continually more bottles. You can also make your own. Vinegar and baking soda are the basics of a lot of cleaning products. So you can go and do your research and find things that are good window cleaners, all-purpose cleaners, bathroom cleaners that you can make with very simple ingredients so you know what's actually going into your cleaners. And then if you don't want to go through the trouble of actually making the cleaning products, just look for companies that are doing things in a sustainable way and watching the chemicals that they are using in their products. There are a lot of companies out there that have products that are safer for the environment. Your yard. Your yard is a great place to start right now because it is spring. Things are about to be really beautiful. You're about to come into that season where you're going to be maintaining your lawn a lot more. So 4 super basic, easy things that you can do in your yard to automatically live some more sustainably. First things first, get rid of your yard. I know this is super unrealistic, but if you have the ability to take even small patches of turf out of your landscape, replace it with native plants, you will be doing a world of good. Our native pollinators, our native animals, our native insects can't really do a whole lot with grass. It's not a great environment for them. Not a lot happening there. So if you can replace it with native plants, that is huge. If you can also take non-native invasive plants out of your landscaping and replace them with native plants, that is also huge. Huge advocate of native plants, less grass, more plants, wonderful. There are some places where we need our yards. There are some places where we have to have yards. There are some places where we don't want plants. If you've got a yard and you're going to maintain it, these are 3 things that you need to do to make sure you have a yard in a sustainable manner. First things first, fertilize at the right times of year. Use the right amount of fertilizer. Never fertilize before it's about to rain because all of that fertilizer is just going to run off your landscape and down the drain. And give yourself a buffer if you back up to a stormwater pond or any body of water. You don't want to fertilize so many feet from that body of water because there's no point in putting fertilizer into the water system. In fact, excess nutrients in our water systems lead to algae blooms and can lead to huge problems with our systems because those algae blooms can cause things like fish die-offs in a process called eutrophication. Check your sprinklers. So if your sprinkler is running in the middle of the day, or it's watering your house, or it's watering the sidewalk, or it's just putting too much water on the landscape, now's a great time to run your sprinkler system and kind of do a refresh on what it's watering, where it's watering, and when it's watering. You should ideally water your yards in the early morning, like 4 to 6 a.m., so that as the heat of the day comes through, your water is kind of wearing off of your landscape. The problem with watering at night is that water sits on your yard and it tends to cause a lot of problems with fungus growing and weeds growing that you don't want. So definitely water in the morning, water on the days you're supposed to, and don't overwater. Turn that sprinkler system off, especially with all this rain we've been getting, and manually do it. That will definitely reduce your water usage than just leaving it on auto and letting it water itself. Check your rain gauges. So all these sprinkler systems have these rain gauges on them. They're supposed to have them on them, but here in Florida, they don't necessarily work properly. That's why sometimes when it's raining, we see irrigation systems on. We don't want that. There's no point in putting water on a landscape when it's raining or when it's just rain. So the way that these rain gauges work is there's usually a cork in the middle, and when it rains, that cork expands, and that expanded cork tells your sprinkler system to be shut off. Well, here in Florida, that cork deteriorates really quickly. So if you don't actively maintain your rain shutoff, that cork could be withered to nothing and therefore is not triggering your system to turn it off. So do some TLC on your irrigation in your yard right now and save water, which is great for your monthly utility bill, but is also great for overall water conservation. So beyond the house, we are leaving the house and we are venturing into other things you can do outside of your immediate household. 1, your shopping trips, where you're going, what you're doing. So normally I would tell you go to the farmer's market, but this is also the time to support local businesses. In place of being able to go to the farmer's market, maybe you just support the vendors you normally would support at the farmer's market. Anytime that goods are traveling less distance to get to you is great because there's less emissions being used to get to you, to travel to your location. Also, when we go shopping, we've gotten much better as a society of bringing our reusable bags, but what we're not as good at, or what we haven't developed a habit for, is bringing reusable produce bags. So a lot of times people have their larger, bigger reusable bags, but in the produce section, they're still using those one-time use plastic bags. Invest in maybe some jersey or these little kind of knapsack bags that you can put multiple things of produce in. So they actually make reusable produce bags if you look into that. Thrift shopping, things that are secondhand, give them a new life. Just because you want something doesn't mean it has to be brand new. When we continue to recycle and reuse things, that's better for the whole system of sustainability. And then opt for e-receipts. So you're not getting a paper receipt. I get e-receipts, for example, when I go to Fresh Market and when I go to Publix. You can sign up for e-receipts, and then this is great because then you never lose your receipts either if they're all in your email. Online shopping, which I am sure a lot of us are doing with our spare time now that we're stuck inside. There are some companies that actually allow you to choose options for no packaging. So you opt out of the packaging that goes into your shipments. So this example is a Little Seed Farm. I order some of my bathroom products from them. And when you go through the ordering process, you can opt to have no additional packaging in your box because honestly, it's not necessarily needed. And then you save on that packaging. If you do get packaging, recycle that brown paper packaging appropriately. And you can also take those AirPod things, go ahead and deflate them, take them with you when you take your plastic bags to Publix and get those recycled properly as well. Do not put those in your curbside recycling. And support online support online companies that are going to offset carbon emissions. So an example of this is Etsy. Etsy has made a promise to offset carbon emissions of that package getting to your home. So this is actually a video that they have of how they're doing that. So let me just switch over my audio here.
Every day in the US alone, e-commerce packages travel about the same distance as going to the moon and back, 133,000 times. That travel puts tons of greenhouse gases into our atmosphere, which contribute to climate change and are bad for the environment. But Etsy's doing something about it by becoming the first major online shopping destination to offset 100% of carbon emissions from shipping globally. This means for every Etsy item that's shipped, Etsy balances it with positive environmental impact, like protecting over 10 million trees that would otherwise be cut down to absorb carbon dioxide and make oxygen, and supporting wind and solar projects that create clean energy. Now you'll know, when an Etsy package arrives at your door, you get something you love, and you're taking a small step toward making a big change for our world.
So that's pretty cool. I just wanted to share that with you. Once again, there are other companies out there doing that. That's just the one I know of and that I use. Travel. So while most of our travel plans are probably on hold or have been canceled, eventually when all of this passes, we all probably need a vacation somewhere. So some tips on travel. One, bring a reusable water bottle. This has been an awesome tip for me. I bring a reusable water bottle everywhere I go. And this is awesome because in the morning at the hotel, I fill it up with ice water and I bring it with me. And then I'm not inclined to buy those single-use plastics as I'm traveling. Another thing is, once again, food waste. We don't want to waste food. It's one of the #1 things that we throw out in this country. So when you're going to that buffet and your eyes get way bigger than your stomach, resist. Just take what you actually think you're going to eat or less than you think you're going to eat, and then you can go back for those extras. But a lot of times we just get so excited and we fill our plates and we get about halfway through and we realize we can't eat it all. So we want to be conscious of how much food we're getting rid of. JetBlue had an amazing announcement at the end of last year that they, starting July of 2020, are going to offset emissions for all domestic flights. So that's pretty cool. And also, when you're traveling and you're staying in hotel rooms, put that do not disturb sign up. You probably don't need your sheets changed every day, your room cleaned every day, your bathroom cleaned every day, because let's be real, you're not cleaning that often at home, right? You're not cleaning every day. So why do you need everything to be clean every day on your vacation? Skip a day or two or skip it for your whole stay, and that will save on all of the chemicals and water that's being utilized to clean out your room. A lot of hotels also have that option that if your towels are hanging, then they won't take them. So try to reuse those towels as well, just like you would do in your home. Your celebrations, right? I like to party. I feel like when this is all over, we're going to appreciate these celebrations so much more, being able to hang out with people. So what you don't want to do is harm the environment in the process of partying and celebrating. So avoid balloon releases, because what comes up must come down. And a lot of times those balloons end up in our oceans and our waterways, and they cause entanglements or animals ingest them. And I don't know about you, but I don't think eating a balloon for me would be great, and it's definitely not good for our sea turtle friends. So go ahead and avoid the balloons. Also avoid your traditional confetti. So our traditional confetti are typically tiny pieces of plastic that then get thrown everywhere that animals eat and digest, and then we have more plastics in the environment. That's never a good thing. But you can actually make your own confetti out of dry leaves with a hole punch. So that's cool. You can also just buy paper confetti that's going to degrade, but avoid that plastic confetti. When you're gifting things, reuse those tissue papers in those bags. Don't get rid of them. I have a huge stack here at my house, and sometimes people get weird bags for weird occasions because that's all I have left over in my stack, but who really cares? So go ahead, save those bags, save that tissue paper, and reuse it. Every single year, my family gets the same bags and the same boxes and the same containers for our Christmas presents because I just save them year after year, and it is great not having to go to the store and buy those things every year. And if you're going to go to a big celebration or you're going to go out to eat and have a big festivity, bring some containers to bring those leftovers in. Don't get those leftovers wrapped up in plastic or in styrofoam. If you have these cans like this in your car because you know there's probably going to be leftovers, just bring that bowl on in and have them fill it up. Now, beyond things you can change at home, you can also get involved. Now, most of these things you'll have to wait until the world returns to normal, but here are some great local organizations that I personally have worked with that in my job I have partnered with. The GTM Research Reserve has an amazing volunteer program. You can volunteer for a wide variety of things there, from education programs to field research. So check them out if you're looking for something to do when this is all done and you want to make a difference. The Florida Microplastic Awareness Project is a great project doing water testing to look and check for those microplastics and those microfibers. And then the Litter Getter, which is done with the Matanzas River Keeper. If you want to just go out there and get dirty and see the effects of your work of cleaning up trash, the Litter Getter has regular cleanups when everything's under normal circumstances. You can go out on this boat you see here and pick up trash in the intercoastal waterways. And that's been a huge help to our local systems. I personally have been on the boat to remove trash, and it's a great experience, so I highly recommend it. Or come out to one of our public beach cleanups or clean up the beach on your own. We're always looking for people to help with our large community beach cleanup days because there's unfortunately always trash on our beaches. You can also, on your own, while you're out there maybe walking during this pandemic, just bring a bag with you and pick up anything that you see. Lastly, use your voice. This is huge. So you guys may not realize this, but your voice stands for a lot. And this goes way beyond just like commenting on something on Facebook. Vote, write your legislators, and not just write your legislators, write them about very specific things or very specific bills. Stay in tune on what's happening at our state legislator level. So 1,000 Friends of Florida is a great organization that basically summarizes what's happening on a normal people term. They take all of the jargon and legal stuff and they make it and put it in terms that you can understand. So if you want to be able to digest what's happening at a government level, that's a great resource for you. And then go to commission meetings, write commissioners, call commissioners. What people don't realize is they get really caught up in these big national elections, which are super important. Don't get me wrong. But a lot of the decisions that are made that affect your day-to-day life are made at a local or a state level. So I really, really encourage all of you to get more involved at a local or a state level and make your voice heard, make your opinion heard on what you think should be done or what you think is wrong, because your voice does matter. And if you think we're headed down a path that's not good, that needs to be expressed. And if you think we're headed down the right path, that also needs to be expressed, because these public officials, they do work for the people, hence why we vote them in. And lastly, and the reason I'm ending my presentation with this is because this is not really a long-term solution. This is we have a waste problem, so how do we properly get rid of our waste? So do all of the things in this presentation that I talked about and then recycle properly. Because at the end of the day, we can't recycle our way out of the problem, but at least if we're going to recycle, we should be doing it properly. So I'm going to test your guys' recycling knowledge as we go through these last few slides and see if you know what can actually go in your curbside recycling bin. So on this slide, we have deodorant sticks. We have these wax filmed cartons that you get coffee in. These wax cartons for things like ice cream, your pouches for snacks, and your receipts. So can any of this go in your recycling bin? So the short answer is no. All of your recycling snack pouches, that all goes in the garbage. Your deodorant cans have multiple kinds of plastic in them, and so they're very hard to recycle, so you probably need to throw those out. Your hot beverages and your cold items, you'll have to check locally to see if those wax cartons can be taken, but typically they have special linings on them that prevent, keep the hot coffee hot and the cold ice cream cold, and those chemical linings on them often make them not recyclable. So just check your local recycling coordinators. And receipts can't go in the recycling bin as well. All right, anything in this slide? Can anything here be recycled? We've got a jam jar, a butter dish, peanut butter jar, and a yogurt container. So this is kind of a trick question. They all individually can definitely be recycled, but they cannot be recycled in the condition you see them in. So it's super important that we keep our recycling clean. So if you're not going to take the time to clean it off or scrape it off, or you don't want to utilize the amount of water it would take to scrape it all off, go ahead and throw it in the garbage can. Anything that's dirty will make your recycling contaminated. Contaminated recycling is either A, completely useless, or B, is not profitable. You can't make money off of recycled material that's contaminated. So clean them off or throw them in the garbage. All right, so we have your bread bag, your shopping bag, your Ziploc bag, and kind of that plastic wrap that goes around things like your toilet paper that you've been hoarding or your paper towel. Any of that go in your curbside recycling bin. Think about it. So the answer is absolutely not. Do not put this in your curbside recycling bin. These types of plastics jam up the recycling machines and shut down recycling plants for hours while they try to unjam everything. But you can still recycle these items. So these items you can collect, anything that's considered a film plastic, so it has some sort of stretch or give to it. You can go ahead and pile up, stockpile at your house, and when you go to your stores, there's typically bins right outside to put in plastic bag recycling. Just throw all of it in there in that plastic film bag recycling bin. You'll be good to go. Keep in mind, all of this still does need to be cleaned, just like everything on the last slide. So if you use that Ziploc bag to put a nasty peanut butter sandwich in, which really they're not nasty, they're delicious, but you got peanut butter all on the inside of that Ziploc bag, unless you're cleaning it out, throw it out. Also, fun fact, while you're ordering things from Etsy and Amazon and all of the other places you're currently sitting on your computer ordering things from, since we're stuck inside and can't go shopping, go ahead and take that bubble wrap and those air pop fillers, pop all of the air, and bring them to the same place you bring your plastic bags at your local store. All right, here we go. All of these plastic items, can these go in your curbside recycling bin? Yes? No? Maybe so? Nope, these can't go in your bin either. These tiny pieces of plastic, also not pictured here, would be things like straws. There's no way to recycle these. There's no recycling process for them. So go ahead and throw that in the trash can. So hopefully you know nothing on this slide goes in your curbside recycling, but you hopefully also know that there are ways to recycle them. So batteries, TVs, light bulbs, old Christmas lights, a lot of these things can be taken to your local solid waste department to be recycled. There's lots of areas that do old Christmas lights recycling drives around Christmas time, so look out for that. But the other three common items, your electronics, your light bulbs, and your batteries, can all be taken as household hazardous waste on community collection days here in St. Johns County, or you can go to any of the transfer stations as well and recycle these items. So here we have a pizza box, some paper towel, and shredded paper. So if you haven't caught on yet, you can't recycle these things. That's the theme here. So if you're putting any of the things we've talked about in the recycling bin, please cease and desist. So pizza boxes, while they are cardboard, and yes, you can recycle cardboard, pizza boxes are contaminated with pizza grease. So do not put your pizza boxes into the recycling bin, please. Shredded paper, same kind of idea with the small plastics. It all just falls through those recycling machines, and you can't recycle shredded paper. You also can't recycle paper towels. But all of these things on this slide are awesome for at-home composting. Your paper towel usage, your cardboards, your shredded papers make great bases for compost. So if you're composting at home or thinking about composting at home, great materials to be able to go in there. Composting also will help with that tricky food waste, minus your meat products. All of your produce and your vegetable-based products can go ahead and go in your compost. So that's all I have for you. So like I said, that was a lot. I want you to reflect back, and I hope that you've written down and you've committed to what your 3 teaspoons of sand are. And I want you to write them down. I want you to write them down. I want you to put them in the fridge, because I want you to put them somewhere that you see them and that you're motivated to do these. And then once you cross those 3 teaspoons off, pick 3 more teaspoons to be working on. Your teaspoon list can never end. You can always make lots of small changes that will add up to really big changes over time. So find those teaspoons, live sustainably, do something in honor of Earth Day that makes a difference. I hope that this presentation was eye-opening for you and you got a lot of really good ideas of what you can do around your house and the way you live your life that will make you just a little more sustainable. Please keep in mind there are a lot more ideas other than what I've put on this presentation. So go ahead and get creative and explore other avenues. But this was hopefully a nice foundation for you to get motivated to find your 3 teaspoons of sand so that we can defeat that big ugly monster on the end of that teeter-totter. And I like to leave every single presentation with some sort of joke or meme, and there's a whole list of basically benefits of being able to live sustainably. Energy and independence, preserve rainforests, sustainability, green jobs, livable cities, renewable, clean water and air, healthy children. And then there's someone in the audience that says, what if it's all a big hoax and we create a better world for nothing? So help us create a better world. Find your teaspoon of sand, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for joining me. Bye.